afternoon, or evening, depending on the time and location of which you view this video. This is episode 2 of our AI D&D campaign. I am Shang Tsung, the Game Master and Dungeon Master for this campaign. Now, we are on to our recap from our last session. If you missed that episode, you can find it here. You will also find a link to the playlist, listed below in the description. Our group was defending a caravan and had a stop in a town called Daggerford. During this stop, their inn-rooms and food was all paid for by the caravan master himself. At the inn, our group caught sight of 3 halflings who seemed rather suspicious. After some interrogation and insight, the group waited until nightfall and took a magical bag from the trio.
And I, Aegis, decided it would be a good idea to sneak out of their room with that said bag. Some magical orb fell from it in the hallway, and I decided to try and pick it up. Failing an intelligence save, I saw a very strange vision of a scorched earth, a sick green sky, with a skull-like abomination above me. I kept hearing a whispering in my ears, saying something like, "Fall and pray, this you must obey." Then the ground was pulled out from under me, like a rug on the stairs, and I hit the floor of the hallway at the inn.
Very dramatic, but true all the same. You hit the floor of the inn, the orb rolls away from you, and you had taken some psychic damage. 12 points to be exact. And with that, ends the recap. Now we move on to today's session. So, Aegis, you have found yourself on the 2nd floor of the inn. You have hit the ground hard, your head hurting from the psychic trauma it has taken. What are you doing from here?
Well, without much else to do or say, I'm going to get up and carefully scoop the orb back into the bag. From there, I'm going to head back to my room.
Hold up, Aegis. I would like to roll a wisdom check or perception check and see if I saw what happened to Aegis.
Very well. Perception check it is.
That's a 19 from me.
Since in the last session, you mentioned that you had stayed up in case Aegis needed help. You had indeed watched what happened between him and the orb. You didn't see the vision, but you indeed did see Aegis floating into the air, his eyes turning and glowing a pale green color until he was seemingly released and hit the floor. The orb also was glowing this same color and lost it all the same when Aegis did.
Perfect. So yes, I will approach Aegis from my room and say, "Hey, Aegis, hold up there. You were floating and glowing in the hallway. I'm not entirely sure what you saw or encountered, but I'm here to help if I can."
Thanks, oh wise man of the cloth. But I think with what I just went through, I'm going to try and get some sleep. We'll talk about this damn thing in the morning, all right? I'd like from there to go into my room, lock my door, and collapse on my bed to catch some Z's.
Did I notice anything about Aegis from that interaction? Magic difference or personality shift?
Clever. No, there was no difference in his magic or personality. I will say that you did see a residue from him. Hard to pinpoint, but not enough to affect him in any way.
Damn. Fine. I'll go to bed too. I think Sharn was already asleep, right?
That is correct. Now we will move on to the next morning. Sharn, since you were asleep first, you will awaken first. What are you doing in the morning?
I'm going to get up, do my morning workout routine that I've had since the tribe days. Then I will get dressed and grab my stuff, head down to the main room of the ground floor, and see who is working it today.
Energetic today? I like it, Sharn. In the main room, there are a few people, mainly adventurers coming in for the morning. Behind the counter is a rather attractive dwarf woman who is cleaning some glasses and the counter for the morning. She does take notice of you when you come downstairs, and gives a rather unpleasant look toward you.
A dwarf woman, huh? Why is she throwing me such a distasteful look?
Time for some more exposition within our world. As said last episode, this world is a combination of 5th edition and 3.5 of Farron. Something that is not really present within 5th edition is the presence of hatred between some races. Due to wanting to eliminate such real-world things in fantasy, 5th edition attempted to move away from this concept. A hatred between dwarves and orcs is rather legendary in any high fantasy media due to their constant struggle and war. In this scenario between Sharn and the dwarf innkeeper, this is no different. For your character's information, as well as your own, this innkeeper does not like you because of the fact you are a half-orc.
Very interesting. Well, for Sharn, knowing this information, this is going to push this attempt even further. Sharn will approach the dwarf woman, slicking back his already dreaded hair, and he will kick up the stool to him before taking a seat. From here, he is going to try and seduce the innkeeper.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Sharn is gonna try and seduce the dwarf! With what you were just told! You want to try and get in bed with this woman? You like women that hate you, Sharn?
I love women that have a feisty attitude, be that hate towards me, a distaste toward the world, or just an in general badass exterior. These kinds of women are good for the soul, Aegis. But yes, I want to try and seduce this woman. What do I gotta do?
Firstly, let's calm down, Sharn. Secondly, I need you to do 2 rolls for me. You said you kicked up the stool toward you. For my own amusement, I want you to give me an athletics check. Then I want you to give me a charisma check for the seduction.
All right, let's see here. Athletics first. That's a solid 18. And now the seduction. Sweet, that's going to be another 18. I hope that worked.
That's the bard for you. I hope you won't try to do this to any dragons we come across.
If the dragon is angry, female, and is looking at me like I'm scum, I'll be more than happy to change her mind.
All right, all right. So the good news for you, Sharn, is that the 18 did work for both of these checks. Seeing as the dwarf already has a deep bias against you for historical reasons, I wanted to make the check hard but fair, so 18 was a good choice. Since you have passed, how would you like to, for lack of better terms, woo this dwarf?
Since I have perched myself on the stool in front of the counter, I want to look this dwarf in her eyes and say, My, I thought I had died when I came down here and saw an angel like you working. Tell me something, dear. Do you have any half-orc in you? And if not, would you like some?
I feel like I'm gonna regret this, but here goes. She says in response to your propositions.
You know, when you first walked down, I was sure we were going to be enemies. Now here we are, gazing into each other's eyes, and I don't know what to think of you. You call me an angel, then invite me into your bed. How about a drink and a meal first? What are you having, sweet talker?
Oh, I'm more than sweet. I can promise you that. I'll have whatever you recommend, beautiful.
On that note, she moves away from you to get and hand you a menu for the inn. Since this is a smaller establishment, the menu is only a front and back. I won't go over all that's available, but the menu has 2 specials, and the town is mainly dwarven. So you can imagine the weakest drink is dwarven mead and dwarven ale being the most popular.
Damn. Well, she wants a meal. I'll get one big enough for us both. I think as far as drinks go, maybe a bit early for drinking heavy. I'll pay for 2 meads and offer her a seat at a table with me.
She indeed gets the meal for you and the drinks. Soon you and this lovely dwarf are having a wonderful breakfast together. Always good to see some wholesome content within these games.
I'm sensing a twist coming in.
You know me too well, Havik. Sharn, I need you to give me a perception check.
Oh no! All right, perception coming up. That's a 23. Love that proficiency.
All right. As you are having your breakfast date, you take a glance around the room. Since you had slept through the night, you aren't familiar with the events of the night before. You would see a familiar face, however. It is the halfling that you and your group were singling out the day before. He is staring down you and your date. His intent is not clear. How is Sharn feeling at this moment?
Staring hard, with no clear intent. Very uncomfortable. That halfling is the magical one. I'll keep my eye on him and make it obvious.
The halfling keeps that intense stare on you. Otherwise, he does little else. After your breakfast date is complete, it is time for Aegis and Harbinger to awaken.
I'll get dressed and head down to the main room. If I run into Aegis along the way, I'll stay silent about the night before, for now. But I'll give him a friendly shoulder pat.
A shoulder pad, huh? I'll slap Harbinger on the back in return and head down with him. Do we notice the intense-looking halfling? Or is the date more center stage?
I won't have you two roll for this. The date is not center stage, as you put it. But that halfling stare down with Sharn is pretty obvious. Sharn, you would notice your allies have joined the room. But that halfling is still your center focus.
Without a doubt. I don't like the way that halfling is looking at me. I'm going to look at the dwarf woman, and as much as I don't want to, I'm going to excuse myself and move over to my allies. I'm going to huddle up with them and speak lowly enough for them to hear. That halfling from last night has been staring a hole through me while I'm rizzing up this dwarf. I don't like it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too surprising. Little Turd had some magic orb in his pack that I took, and it made me see a very strong vision. Thankfully, I'm okay now, but my head was killing me for a while last night.
That orb turned green, along with your eyes, Aegis. If you are seeing a strong vision, as you said, from it, then that orb is something else entirely. We need to look into it when we can. For now, though, we need to focus on that halfling.
You won't have to wait long. Whilst you three are huddled together, the halfling moves over to be right next to the three of you. That look on his face has changed. He now is definitely upset with the three of you.
Uh-oh. Guaranteed he hurt us. I'll look at the little guy and say, "Oh, good morning. How can we help you?"
I heard what you three were saying. You broke into my room and stole my property. Give it back now, or I'll turn the three of you into ants so I can squash you properly.
Oh, no. That's sad someone took your things, little guy. I hope you find it. I think with that, I'll try to move myself and my two boys over to the table Sharn was just at.
Before you do that, you just lied to that halfling. I need you to roll for deception.
Damn! I felt that coming. All right. Deception? Don't fail me now. That's going to be a 17.
Meets and beats. The halfling looks at you for a moment, Aegis. You can almost tell he is second-guessing himself. Before anything else happens, he moves from the room, heading back upstairs. Now it is mainly just the three of you and the innkeeper within the main room of the inn. What are you three doing now?
We've brought it up. Let's talk about it now. All right, guys. Last night, I took the halflings pack, like we talked about. I saw something pretty awful. Sickly green sky, scorched earth, and this large skull thing in the sky. The sky seemed to be turned because of that thing, but I couldn't keep my eyes on it.
Sounds like some kind of nightmare. But visions can be tricky. Can I use a religion or history check to see if I recognize anything he has brought up so far?
Sure, I would say do one or the other. Tell me which before you do.
Being a cleric, I think a religion check would make sense, so I'll do that. Hell yeah! Nat 20! So that is a 26.
A natural 20. The first critical success this campaign. I love it. So, with that check, you are mainly reminded of the fact that your deity, Cyric, is symbolized with a skull. However, there is nothing in the history, dogma, or otherwise of such a thing Cyric has done.
Ah, so that is what I missed last night. Damn. I wish I had stayed up then. Is there anything else you need to tell us?
Yeah. There was this whispering. It was more like chanting. Kept saying, "Fall and pray. This you must obey." I don't know what it means, but that's all I can remember for now.
Is there anything I would know about that, even though the cleric might know more? I'm curious if I had heard that mantra somewhere before.
Strangely enough, you have heard this before. Give me an intelligence, and let's see if you fully remember where.
That's a 15. Not too bad, but not too good either.
You have heard this mantra before. It has only happened twice, yet has left an impression on your memory. When you were hunting with your tribe, you came across what was left of a skirmish. Among the leftover chaos, there was a survivor. He repeated the mantra until his final breath.
I have heard this mantra before, many years ago, but it's familiar to me. Poor bastard died saying it. I don't know what it means, mind you, but at least there is something for us.
So, this is definitely a cult-like situation. If you encountered someone years ago who was saying that mantra, then that saying must have some purpose within. Perhaps we should look more into it if we can.
Cults! Gross! I never really cared for the whole religious dedication thing. No offense there, Harbinger. But if this thing or whatever has a problem with us, then we have no choice but to face it head on.
Agreed! Well, let's see if we can figure out what it might be. But first, let's eat. With that, I'm going to call over the dwarf innkeeper and order some breakfast.
Sounds good to me. I'm going to specifically order some steak and eggs, maybe a bit of garlic toast. That would hit the spot right now.
All right. Enough of the hungry talk. That's why snacks are always present at these games. Anyways, you eat your breakfast, then head out into the town afterwards. As a reminder, you came in with a caravan, so it would be a good idea to check in on that.
Shit! I nearly forgot. Thanks, Shang. Yeah, is the caravan still here for one? And if they are, I want to see how long we got before they take off.
Yes, it is still here. The caravan master is actually by the carts, seeming to check them over as he is doing some trading with the other caravans. How do you want to approach?
Perfect. I'll walk over and just kind of take hold of the master's shoulder. With a big smile on my face, I'll ask, "Hey there, caravan guy. What time you think we will be rolling out of here? Me and my boys got some business to tend to before then."
We are heading out here around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. You and your boys, as you call them, should have plenty of time to finish any business you have. Just know, though, we aren't waiting for you. If you're late, we're heading out without you, and we can easily get new guards.
Delightful. We won't be late. With that, I'm gonna head back to the guys and let them know our time limit. Then we should look around this town to see if there is some information about this mantra or what it could be linked to.
So, our bard has heard about this mantra during a hunt. Essentially, a freak accident. The man died while saying it, which is where I made a cult connection. Sounds religious in nature, at least to a point. Is there a library or archive here? Research should be our biggest advantage here.
Thankfully, there is an archive here. In the middle of the town, there is a large building with an indicator of such.
Good! We should head there then. Once we get there, I want to look around for anything relating around religions or cults for my cleric friend here. Get some use out of my proficiency with perception.
Fair enough, and a good use of your character, Sean. You each head into the archive and see, much like a library, the place is filled with books and tables. All are made for reading, research, and anything else related to a dedication to what subjects are available. Sean, give me a perception check to find these books.
That's an unnatural 20.
You do indeed spot the books in question, at least the ones with religious titles. You have 3 in total to look through that revolve around cults and the occult.
Then I will get them and hand them over to Harbinger. He is better at those subjects after all.
I'll thank Sharn, then head over to one of the tables and begin researching. How long am I allowed to research for?
You have till 2 in the afternoon, so that is roughly 4 hours from now. You can choose to spend all 4 here if you want, or you can split the time. Either way, you will be giving me a check to see if you can find anything. This is also a good time to explain the kind of check you will be doing. From time to time, you will have to do checks that will allow you to add 10 or 20 to the roll. This is done normally with work or performance. In this case, we will treat it along the same lines as performance. The better the role, the better you do. With research, this will help with whatever you are researching for and how much information you gain. So, Harbinger, give me a performance check and make sure to add 10 or 20 to the roll. For brevity's sake, call out which you are adding beforehand, then give us the total when you roll.
All right, I will be adding 20 so that I can gain as much as I can. It was a very good thing to add that 20. That's a 26 in total.
Interesting. Now, roll a d4. This will allow us to see how long you have spent researching for this information.
That's going to be a 1.
For the sake of the audience, what we have done here might not happen in other games. As a reminder, this is homebrew, but essentially, Harbinger has decided to research with his rolls and calculate the time taken to do so. In this case, he has spent 1 hour doing research through these books. If he had decided to just take the whole time, I would have rolled in his stead. So, Harbinger, you have researched for 1 hour, and you have found some useful information. In the time you have taken, you have uncovered 2 different things. First of all, nothing about what you have heard from either of your allies points to demons or devils. None of what you know of your own studies leads you to search that of Bane, Hextor, or any other ally of Cyric. There is one mention in one of the books on the occult that sounds similar to the skull that Aegis had seen in his vision. However, your source even states that this is mainly speculation. As such, a creature has not been experienced or seen outside of the cult mentioned, at least until now.
By the gods! Just like any divine intervention, they are crazy until it is experienced beyond the group. We may have effectively found a lost god. I'll report my findings to my group. I'll call them over to my table and tell them this information I've found out.
At least I know I didn't hurt for nothing. You know something? We should go talk to the halfling too when we are done here. I mean, we did lie about stealing from them, and that will certainly prove that we were lying. But I think this is more important than any lie we told.
We got our full rest, so I can charm them up if need be. Or at least 2 of them. This goes way deeper than any lie, for sure. I say we go see what them halflings know as well.
I'm glad you remember the halflings, 'cause they haven't forgotten you either.
Oh no, I think I know what that means.
And he's rolling too!
Harbinger, I need you to give me a dex saving throw.
Damn it, fine! Dex save it is! 21, natural 19.
Good job, Harbinger. That's our cleric.
Lucky indeed. You are able to move from the table just as a bolt from a crossbow goes past your face. It was so close you could feel the wind of it on your face, right near your nose. Looking over, the 3 halflings are making their way in, 2 guarding the magical one in the back. But there is a bigger issue. The one in the back is carrying something in his hands. It glows brightly with magical energy and escapes the gaps in his fingers like smoke and flame. For clarity, the 2 in front are armed with hand crossbows, and another crossbow lays at the entrance of the archive. Their intent is clear now, approaching quickly with obvious aggression.
2-hand crossbows. Another regular crossbow at the entrance. They were wanting to kill us without making a sound if they could, but that's obviously failed. Now they are coming at us with some magic ball of flame. They are gonna fireball us and everything here.
We don't have much time then. I'm going to warn my friends here by saying, get down! Then I will cast Thunderwave at the halflings!
Very well. What is your DC save?
They gotta beat a 12. I really hope this works.
They have beaten your save, but they will still take the damage. At least half. Go ahead and roll for that, please.
That's a 7. We round down halves, I think. So that would be a 3.
He's rolling again. I don't like this.
You cast your Thunderwave spell. The spell causes a force to erupt from your position in a 15-foot cube. We also have to remember that within this range, All objects not attached to the floor are also affected. In a freak turn of events, when you cast this spell, some of the books and the adjacent tables are affected, and one table is moved over and hits the halflings. This causes the one in the back to stumble and fumble his hands. He drops the magical energy, it hitting at his feet, then expanding quickly to take up an entire 60-foot space. All of you are taken by a sea of magical white light that had crawled over each of you like a rushing flame. I know this is a short session, but I wanted to end it in a surprise. The next thing you each realize is that you are laying in what feels like ash. You each are able to stir and stand, though on wobbling feet. The area around you is strange. It is like you are looking into a sea of gray all around you, standing atop ash and some kind of smooth ground below. You are able to pinpoint each other. Then, there is a fourth, standing strangely tall and gaunt compared to the rest of you. A humanoid is roughly 40 feet ahead of you. Its left hand holds a cane at its side, more akin to a scepter of sorts. The other hand is properly behind its back, slowly shifting through the ash. It approaches, then speaks the following.
Good evening, my little visitors.
And that concludes today's session. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. And today, Negan will be taking us out.
Thank all of you for watching this little game of ours unfold. If you are enjoying the content, please subscribe and like the video. It means the world to us. Also, hit that little bell so you know when more of these are coming in the future. I think we had one more little announcement before we head out, but I ain't privy to that information.
Yes, these videos in particular are going to be simply uploaded to the channel. No premieres or anything like that, so hitting the bell will be important to know when the uploads are there. This concludes our second session, and I hope to see you all again in the next one.
Until next time.